Welcome to UniHouse English Podcast. In this episode, James and Sarah discuss the modern methods and daily habits that help A2 learners become confident speakers in a world filled with AI and new technology. Listen to their casual conversation and notice how they use natural fillers and corrections.
Hey, Sarah, have you seen the news lately about how people are learning English in 2026? It is really different from how we used to study back in the day, with those heavy, dusty textbooks and those boring grammar tapes, you know?
Oh, hi, James. Yes, I was actually just reading an article about that this morning. It is honestly so amazing how much technology has changed our habits. Now, people are using AI tutors that talk back to them like real humans, which is just, well, it is kind of mind-blowing, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, I remember when I had to carry around a physical dictionary just to look up one word. But now, you can just wear these smart glasses that translate everything in real time. But, some people say that makes us lazy, so they focus on speaking fluently without the help of gadgets too much.
That is a great point, James. To reach a good level, like the A2 level or even higher, you really need to practice the actual sounds. I think the secret in 2026 is still consistency. You have to open your mouth and speak every single day, even if you are just talking to your cat or your coffee machine.
My cat is tired of hearing my English. But seriously, I've been trying this new method where I narrate my whole day. I say things like, now I am making a sandwich and I am putting the cheese on the bread. It feels a bit silly at first, but it really helps with my fluency and speed, you see.
Wait, you do that too? I thought I was the only one. I do it when I am getting ready for work in the morning. I say, Sarah, you are brushing your hair now, and then you will put on your blue coat. It helps me think in English instead of translating from my native language, which is a huge step for students.
It really is. Translation is like a wall, you know? You have to climb over it every time you want to say something. In 2026, the goal is to break that wall down. I also heard that virtual reality meetups are the big thing now. You can go to a virtual cafe in London while sitting on your sofa in your pajamas.
I tried one of those last week. I was so nervous, James. I walked into the virtual cafe, and there was a man from Japan and a woman from Brazil. We all spoke English together. I made a mistake and said I has instead of I have, but you know what? No one cared. We just kept talking and laughing.
That is the spirit. Mistakes are they are just stepping stones. I think many students are too scared of being wrong. But in 2026, the community is much more supportive. We realize that everyone is learning. By the way, how do you handle the new slang? It changes so fast these days.
Ugh, the slang. It is so confusing sometimes. Last week, my younger cousin told me my English was on fire, and I actually thought she meant I was in danger. I was ready to run out of the room. But then she explained it means I am doing a great job. It took me a second to realize she was being nice.
That is hilarious. On fire is a good one to know. I struggle with vibing. Everyone says we are just vibing when they are hanging out. I keep wanting to use the old words like relaxing, but I guess I need to update my vocabulary list if I want to sound natural in 2026 conversations.
Well, you don't have to use all the slang, James. As long as you are clear and your sentences are balanced, people will understand you. Let me ask you, do you still use those flashcard apps? I find them a bit boring now that we have interactive games that let us practice speaking while we play.
I still use them a little bit, but you are right. The games are much better. There's this one game where you have to solve a mystery by interviewing different characters in English. If you don't speak clearly, the character doesn't understand you and you can't find the clues. It is very motivating, actually.
That sounds so fun. I need to try that. I think the key to fluency this year is definitely making it a part of your lifestyle, not just a subject you study for an hour. For example, I changed my phone settings to English, and at first I couldn't find my own photos. I was so lost for a minute.
Oh, I did that too. I accidentally deleted a whole playlist because I didn't know what the button meant.
But hey, I learned the word permanently very quickly after that. It was a painful lesson, but a very effective one. Self-correction is such a big part of the process, don't you think?
Absolutely. When you hear yourself say something wrong and you fix it immediately, that is when you know your brain is really working. Like if I say, he go to the store. Oh, I mean, he goes to the store. That shows I am aware of the rules. It is a sign of progress, even if it feels a bit clunky.
True. And, speaking of rules, do you think grammar is still important in 2026? Some people say we should just focus on communication and forget about the tenses. But I feel like if I don't know the difference between I did and I have done, I get really confused when I am trying to tell a story.
I think grammar is like the skeleton of a building. You don't always see it, but without it, everything falls down. You don't need to be a professor, but knowing the basic A2 grammar helps you feel more confident. It gives you a structure, so you don't feel like you are just throwing words at people.
I like that analogy. A skeleton. So we need the grammar for the structure, the vocabulary for the skin, and the slang for the cool outfit. Anyway, I'm trying to speak for at least 15 minutes every morning. It's my English breakfast routine, you could say.
English breakfast. I love that name. What do you talk about during those 15 minutes? Do you have a list of topics, or do you just talk about whatever comes into your head? I sometimes find it hard to think of things to say when I am alone in my kitchen.
Usually I talk about my plans for the day. I say, today I have a meeting at 10 o'clock and I need to finish that report. Then I might pretend to have a conversation with my boss. It helps me prepare for the real thing. It is like a rehearsal, like an actor preparing for a big play.
That is brilliant. I usually listen to a podcast and then try to summarize it out loud. If the podcast is about cooking, I will spend 5 minutes talking about my favorite recipes in English. It helps me use new words immediately. If you don't use a new word within 10 minutes, you usually forget it.
That is so true. Use it or lose it. I also think watching videos with English subtitles is helpful. But in 2026, I try to use the dual subtitles feature. It shows my language and English at the same time. Then after a few minutes, I turn off my native language and just leave the English ones on.
Yes. And then the final step is to turn off all the subtitles. That is the scariest part for me. When the subtitles are gone, I feel like I am swimming in the middle of the ocean without a life jacket. But it really forces my ears to work harder and listen for those specific English sounds.
It is scary, but it is the best way to improve your listening. And listening and speaking are like two sides of the same coin. The more you hear natural English, the more natural you will sound when you speak. It is all about that rhythm and the flow of the sentences,
Exactly. English has a very specific rhythm. It is like a song. Some words are long and some are short. In 2026, we have those cool apps that analyze our voice and show us a graph of our rhythm. It told me I was speaking too flatly, like a robot. I had to learn to add more emotion to my voice.
A robot? Hello, I am Sarah. I like tea. That is funny, but it's true. Intonation is so important. It changes the meaning of the sentence. If you say, really, with a rising tone, it's a question. If you say, really, with a falling tone, it means you are bored or you don't believe someone.
Right? It is those little details that make you sound like a fluent speaker. I am so glad we have all these tools now. It makes the journey much less lonely. I remember when learning a language meant sitting alone in a room with a book. Now it is a social, global experience for everyone involved.
It really is. Well, Sarah, I think I have talked enough for now. My English breakfast has turned into an English lunch. I feel much more confident just after talking to you for a bit. It really helps to have a friend to practice with, even if we are just talking about talking.
I agree, James. This was a great chat. Let's keep practicing and make 2026 the year we finally feel 100% fluent. I am going to go narrate my lunch now. I am eating a salad and it is very green. See you later, James. Have a wonderful day.